don't be watching Netflix. Don't be on Instagram looking at girls. Even for example, like I get so many DMs from guys, bro, help me out, man, help me out. I just use it as case study sometimes, you know. I go on their page, I look at who they follow, and they're following all half-naked girls. When you feel like you want to sell, like when everyone's saying that's when you got to buy. It's literally the opposite, and it's hard because of human psychology, right? But just being in that space for that long, I just see like when you're the most nervous, when you're the most scared, and you're selling, that's probably the wrong point where you should buy. Like I said, like the reason why I mentioned that in the hip hop world is they didn't realize the power of social media. Like, but when you have a personal brand, like look at Jake Paul, for example. The dude's probably making more money in boxing than, you know, probably just only Canelo and one or two of the top people is making more money than him in boxing. That's not even his lane. Like, you know what I mean? Like he made that his lane and he's making more money than all of these other people because...
Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today we've got an absolute blast. We've got Big Sam back as a second repeat offender. He's done over 9 figures online in the digital gaming space and digital products. So big thank you to here today. He's also a whiz when it comes to crypto. In the last podcast, he also called what was going to happen with Bitcoin. Yeah. And what did you say was going to happen in the last one?
Well, I said that we would find the bottom then or around the next couple months. And then I said in 2024, it's going to go up. So, and also like, throughout that whole bear market, I was just trying to sell my assets. Like I sold my Lamborghini and in Ethereum and Bitcoin, I was just selling off stuff just to keep accumulating. Yeah.
So you were selling your assets then to buy more Bitcoin, yeah. More Ethereum?
Yeah, look, the way that I always try to tell people is when you feel like you want to sell, like when everyone's saying that's when you got to buy. It's like literally the opposite, and it's hard because of human psychology, right? But just being in that space for that long, I just see like when you're the most nervous, when you're the most scared, and you're selling, that's probably the wrong point where you should buy.
Yeah, it's funny. I was about to say a minute ago. So what I did last January was that when I think it was January, the market was fucked. I bought Solana before at like 150, some at 250. Yeah, it went down to like 10, 12. I was like, well, if I bought it 150, I bought it 250. Like this is the least risk I'm ever going to take. Yeah. So just started piling into that, and it's now back to like went to 210. It's 150 or something today, and it's mind tricking yourself into realizing you need to do the opposite of everyone else. Yeah,
I always tell people like, okay, for example, right? I'm into fashion and everything, but if you go to Fendi and there's a jacket for $5,000 and you want to buy it, and then you go back the next week and it's $2,000, you're gonna want to buy it, right? But when it comes to like, stocks and crypto and that, people have a completely different mindset. So I just kind of say it like that to people.
I think people don't realize that it's almost like, I look at it as on sale. You're getting a discount.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it just shows that the majority of people, and it's fair enough, they're just buying, literally trying to get quick money. But once you do the research, once you do like the proper due diligence, you just pick a few things, and like the price action, it's kind of like it's not the only indicator that you look at. You look at, is the space growing? Is people building on the space? What new things are coming in? Like for example, with the ETFs and that just pretty much gives Bitcoin a stamp of approval, because they're not going to allow people to buy it in America if they're going to ban it. You know what I mean? So. But that doesn't mean that the price just jumps up the next day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can see all these things happening, and usually price is like the last or even a lagging indicator of all of that stuff happening before it. So you got to research and stay involved in it at that point. And that's why I'm comfortable to do these investments when it's down, when everyone's saying sell, on these type of Ethereum, the Bitcoins. And like you said, Solana.
Contrarian mindset, doing the opposite of everyone else, thinking differently.
Yeah, I've always been like that, so it's kind of...
It comes naturally to you.
Yeah, natural.
With crypto and where the space is going, do you like the bull run, whether it's even really started yet, how far do you think that will go, and when do you think it will finish, and what do you personally think Bitcoin can end up going to?
Damn.
That's a very broad question, I know.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the market, like... I believe if you look at every other project or coin apart from Bitcoin, they haven't hit their all-time highs yet. And I believe that Bitcoin hit it now just because of the ETFs. So if you take Bitcoin off the table and you look at the other projects, you can see that we're not even at all-time highs on anything else. So I still believe we're early, but in saying that, you do have to look. The price was 16,000, so it's already like a 4x from there. In terms of like the price, what it could be, I don't really like to call the price, because like I said, like for me with Bitcoin, it's like I don't like saving in fiat. So like for me, Bitcoin is the end goal. So I'm not looking at it as like one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. That's kind of how I look at it. It's like a scarce asset. It's literally like owning a Picasso, or you know what I mean.
So you're essentially trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, and then you're diversifying into other cryptocurrencies at the same time.
Oh, I don't really like. I like Bitcoin, Ethereum. You know, apart from that, to be honest, like, okay, this run, I believe is like AI and gaming, and even I believe that gaming was going to have a big run this cycle, which is why in 2021 I set up the Web3 gaming company, and you know we're launching a game this year in that space. So I've been building the whole last few years in gaming in anticipation of it having a run this cycle. Now when that will happen, I'm not too sure, but I know that there was $4 billion allocated towards gaming in the last cycle. And being in the space and you know the previous success that I've had in the mobile gaming industry, I know that these different projects, or you know the more bigger games, they take years to build. So they take years. So you know all it takes is one game to have a bit of success this cycle, and then the whole scene becomes like a center of attention. You look at what happened in the last run when Facebook changed their name to Meta and said that they were focusing on the metaverse, like Sand and Mana and all that went crazy up. So yeah, it just takes one semi-successful game in Web3 for the whole space to blow up. And you know, I know for a fact that the last cycle and the previous cycles was like crypto people trying to build a game. Now you're gonna see gaming people building a fun game and adding the crypto element, the blockchain element to it. So it's a completely different thing. It's not gonna be like gamified or people just speculation. You're actually gonna see some titles that are fun to play, and people just want to own the assets inside the game, not for speculation. I think that is gonna be the point where gaming will head to.
I think what's frightening is that crypto hasn't really even been practically used for much yet.
Yeah.
So when it actually starts to get practically used, like you said there, it's going to go nuclear. I imagine like Call of Duty or Warcraft is on crypto, is like on the crypto platforms, and then you're like buying to buy better skins on guns and stuff. That's when it will go nuclear, I think.
Yeah, there's billions and billions of dollars spent on in-game transactions in your normal games that like the end user doesn't have any ownership of and can't even transfer that into other games. So you know, in the future, like you'll be able to take your skin from this game and transfer it into that game. You know what I mean? Like that's all going to happen, and you'll be able to, you know, you can verify who owns it. Also, like the amount of time that you spend inside the game, you know, that there's a value to that. And with the NFT and the ownership aspect, you know, you can literally build it up and it will have a dollar value to it.
With crypto, is there a point where you're looking to exit and sell anything, or are you just purely just going to try and keep accumulating? Because a lot of people really struggle to actually exit out, and that's just why 90% of people don't make any money.
Yeah, look, I think apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum to an extent, I think everything else is like a buy and sell thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't try to time the market. It's like time in the market. That's what I try to tell people, because like I first started buying in 2015 and I made a lot of mistakes throughout that whole process. But even what I try to tell people, when I tell them that I've been involved since 2015, they're like, damn, I wish I knew about it back then. And I always try to remind them, like, well, let me tell you something. The people that bought back then, 99% of them have sold. and they wish they hadn't sold. So when I say that to them, it's like, you don't try to time the market. It's about time in the market. And, if you look over a 4-year period or whatever, no one has ever lost money on Bitcoin.
There's an expression that I remember my dad's friend saying to me was really wealthy. And the very simple saying was essentially that it's expensive today, cheap tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I remember buying Bitcoin in 2017. It was like, I don't know, maybe $3,000-$4,000.
Yeah.
And it went down to like 2,000, whatever it was. And I was like, fuck, like, I've lost so much money and this is really expensive, whatever. Yeah. But now you're talking, it's like 65,000, whatever today.
Yeah.
It's like context. There's no way in a few years' time it won't be worth more.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people need to like elongate their time horizons of the way they look at money and also investing in crypto.
Yeah, like I look at the world now, and you see there's like a division happening between East and West, different superpowers, and they don't want to trade in the US dollar as the reserve currency, because at the end of the day, China, Russia, all that, if they trade in the US dollar, who does that end up benefiting the most? The US. And so I believe that like Bitcoin is like a way that they will do international settlements for payments. And you even see Venezuela just announced that they're doing their payments in USDT. You know what I mean? So like slowly but surely, like the more and more people that come onto it and just see like all the use cases and the benefits for it. You saw with El Salvador adopting it as a reserve currency, and all the stuff that's happened there. Now you see other South American nations starting to see that. Like you have Venezuela using USDT for oil trade and that. And yeah, I believe that it's gonna happen a lot more, even with, like what happened in 2019, 2020 with all the spending and all the, all the money that the government's printed for the, are we allowed to say it?
Yeah, exactly.
What do we say?
The bullshit thing that happened. Yeah, the flu. Yeah.
Okay,
bad cold.
For the flu. So, you see what happened there. And, even $100 in 2021, it's only like $75 now. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't save in your normal savings anymore, man.
What would you say to people who think they can save their way to wealth?
Look, yeah, I think no, that's crazy. You can't save your way. You can invest in yourself. But yeah, in regards to saving, like, how can you do it when the inflation rate is like, they say it's 2-3%, but from all accounts it's like 8 to 10%. So that means that if you got $100, it's only worth like 92 that next year. So yeah, I don't see it, man.
Something you posted on Instagram the other day I thought was a very interesting question I want to ask you. Do you think it's harder to make your first $10,000, first $100,000, or first $1 million?
I like that you're asking me that question, because actually a lot of the results was $1,000 to $100,000, because it's a 100x, whereas 100,000 to 1 million is a 10x, 1 million to 10 million is a 10x. But I've done all three, right? And I say like the 0 to 100K, you can do that with a job. You know what I mean? You can do that with a salary. Realistically, you can do that with a salary. 100 to 1 million, you can do that over a period of time with just some property flips, right? But the 1 mil to 10 mil, now you're talking risk. You know what I mean? Like you got to risk that 1 mil to get to 10 mil. And I think that in order to get that, you actually need to have a business. You need to be an entrepreneur. You need to have your own business or a product or a service to get you to that level. So that's why I say that is the hardest. It's also the most risk. And yeah, so that's why I believe that the 1 mil to 10 mil is the hardest.
I think what's interesting about that is because when you're at that stage where you've got $1 million or $2 million, you're comfortable, you've got good lifestyle, you can do whatever you want. Is you're also almost putting that on the line to try and go bigger and get to fucking 10, right?
Yeah, and also like, when someone has $1 million, right? It's very hard to say, you know what, I'm not going to spend it now. I'm not going to buy the watch. I'm not going to buy the Lamborghini. I'm not going to buy this, that, and the third. I'm going to focus, because even for myself, I didn't even buy my first supercar until I had over 10 million in the bank and a house paid off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because I want to play that long game. Like I want to keep going. I didn't care to impress people below that level. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to get up. I didn't want to be the big fish in a little pond where I was living or anything like that. So that's why I say it's hardest, because once people get $1 million, they probably like break it up in 20 different ways. You got to do this for your parents. You got to, you want to get the watch. You want to get the starter kit. You know what I mean? The entrepreneur starter kit.
I made kit.
Yeah, but it's hard to just go, you know what? I'm not ready yet. So that's why I always say that is the hardest.
Do you think it's harder to go from 1 to 10 or 10 to 50?
Damn. Like I said, I think from 1 to 10 to 10 to 50, you need to have a business. Do you know what I mean? Like now, with what, like the only thing that I focus on is like I always just look at the ceiling, because a lot of people say, yeah, I'm about the money, I'm chasing the money, but they're chasing money in a business or a lane that the ceiling's quite low. So yeah, I definitely think I kind of think they're the same, to be honest. Yeah, I think they're probably the same. Like if you can get to 10, I think the same principles apply for both. But the ones before, it's different principles.
What you just said there reminds me of like one of my favorite books is 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan.
Okay.
And it's basically the process in terms of like, if you want to get like 10x results, you have to think differently.
Yeah.
In terms of most people don't realize the vehicle they're in terms of they want to become a millionaire, but they physically can't do it because they're a personal trainer, like trading like money for time.
Yeah.
So it's physically impossible.
Yeah.
And people still don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I think anyone listening to this should sit down and work out like what they actually want, which most people don't do. And then is that actually physically possible with what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
And what will those numbers look like?
Exactly. Like, and if not, you got to like work on your skills and change your hustle up and become an expert in an industry or a field that has like a unlimited ceiling. You know what I mean? Like you said, yeah, personal trainer who's trading their time for money, you're never going to be a multi-millionaire. But what you can do is create your own training program and try to be a F45, try to be a High Rocks, try to be a Barry's. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the way you could do it in fitness, but literally just being a personal trainer, it's not going to happen.
You mentioned there, it's like self-development, learning. Like my personal feeling is that like entrepreneurship is like the greatest self-development vehicle you're ever going to do.
Yeah.
What do you do to like in terms of your own personal growth and to keep developing?
Like for myself, first thing is like fitness. I think that is the most important. You know, like I train every day. Like I run. I just want to feel that. You know what I mean? Like I look back at what humans used to do to get some steak. You know what I mean? Like you think about, we had to go out and do sustenance hunting is the primitive form of hunting where you literally have to outrun and outlast the animal. And there's videos on YouTube, just type sustenance hunting and it's crazy, like literally outrunning the antelope or the gazelle and outlasting it. So we did that all throughout history, and now we're just like, I mean, especially living in like 2024, you don't even need to leave your house. So I still want to feel that every single day, that, you know, just the lungs like burning and everything. And then apart from that, like I said, I just stick to stuff that has a super high ceiling. That's why I've been in social media and making money on social media for over 10 years. Like before that, I used to run nightclubs and that, but these were all physical locations. So what I realized is like when my Facebook page started going crazy in 2014, I'm like, damn, like I got these physical businesses, but I got people in America that are following what I'm doing. I don't have anything. I can't make money off them. So yeah, I just stick to lanes that have a super high ceiling. That's why I got into apps. As soon as I got into mobile games, the reason that it attracted me out of everything else that I was doing at the time was just reading an article saying that the gaming industry makes more money than the Hollywood and the music industry combined. And that was back in 2014, Wild. 2015. So as soon as I read that, I'm like, okay, I need to put some energy and attention to this, because like I got a music label and all that. I got a record label in Australia as well. And, you know, like, but just seeing that, and then, okay, so I pivot to gaming. And then even with the blockchain and crypto and that, it's the same thing. Like $100 million in crypto. Like you tell someone that you made $100 million in crypto, they're like, That's cool. You know, you get a couple claps, but in music like that's crazy. Like there's probably only like a few artists, your Drake, your Taylor Swift, your Ed Sheerans that is killing it on like, you know, close to $1 billion, but you kind of hear it a lot in crypto and that. So that's why I just stick to lanes and stuff that is gonna make a lot of money, and then I just research every day. Like every single day, I'm like I said, like I'm going on, I'm seeing the new developments. That's why I'm so comfortable, because I don't really look at the price. I look at the news articles. I see who's adopting it. I see like new companies that are focusing and building in the scene. And even when I was in the apps, I was going to Google, I was going to Apple, and a lot of the times all the stuff was just focused on getting the CPMs up. You know, it wasn't like back in the 70s or even the early 2000s where that was like your crazy entrepreneurs was all in that space. I believe all the builders and all those people that are the young Steve Jobs and all of that of today is all in blockchain and crypto.
I would get as most upside reward. One of the things you mentioned there was in terms of like research. What's your practical day look like doing that? So say someone's like, I want Sam's method and resureach. Like, where do they start?
Look, long format content, man. Okay. Like for example, right? You like Solana.
Yeah.
So I would just go on YouTube and who created Solana, whatever, and just look at their long format content, research that. Even for example, like we're building on social media. I watch the Instagram CEO, his long format interviews, which people wouldn't do. Like I look at stuff that I use every day, and then I figure out who's the CEO, and I try to find all the articles and that on them, because they're talking about the stuff that they're implementing in year 2, year 3, year 4. That, you know what I mean? Like people just kind of see what's the play now. Oh, this guy's doing that. But then if you watch these long format interviews, you can see what they're going to be implementing next year. For example, like, and it makes sense. I didn't realize that the majority of Instagram is DMs. Like for the average user, most of their time spent on Instagram is in the DMs. And you know, like you think Instagram is just a photo, video, stories, but actually it's in the DMs where user activity is the highest. So if you know that sort of information, you can just like adapt or even pivot your business and even creating your content to, and you see it, like you see a lot of, you see some videos that, because it might be like a girl or like something that they don't want to like, but then you see how many shares it has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't want to leave a trace.
Yeah, they don't want to like it, but they're sending it to like their friends. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then obviously like, with Instagram, it's like the new dating service. It's dating and everything.
I think that's where also people don't understand how these platforms are really meant to be used as well. And I think why a lot of people struggle in terms of content is they're trying to use them in ways they're not supposed to be used anymore. Yeah, and
I think a lot of people as well, like they're just trying to sell. But first you gotta give value. You know what I mean? Like you gotta really change people's mindset and really go, you know what, man, like this person, he's changed my life in whatever way, and then they'll support you. Whereas everyone's just trying to add. You know what I mean? Sell, and it doesn't work like that.
I think I don't know if you've read any of these books you like reading, but Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson is one of the best books for anyone in terms of marketing. It talks about like an attractive character framework in terms of like how to sell your story in terms of who you are to get people to buy into your journey. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things most people don't do is they're like blanketly copying all the other shit someone else is doing and then just trying to sell shit all the time rather than like talking about who they are, where they're from, and what they've done that makes them different.
Yeah, I think like I tell this to every single person who has a physical business. I said, man, you're leaving so much money on the table by not being on social media and not telling your story, because there's a lot of people that's more successful than me. And then, a lot of their answers is like, oh, I don't have the time. I'm like, bro, like you do all of this in your physical business, but you're leaving so much money on the table by not telling your story. It doesn't matter how small your niche is. If you're able to create content online, it doesn't matter how small your business is or what sort of niche it is. If you're able to create proper content on social media and tell your story effectively, there's still 1 million people that will follow you and support you. You could be like just a person who knits garments if you're if you're able to document that on social media, I guarantee you could get 1 million followers.
I'll give you a really random example just sprung to mind. Is an Irish coach who works with us, Dave Kennedy, who's specializes in the farming niche in Ireland. He's making 100,000 euros a month selling weight loss programs to farmers in Ireland.
Okay.
Which is super random, super specific, right?
Yeah.
And he makes content of him like literally like shoveling shit and stuff that goes super viral. And it's just an example in terms of like, if you're specific to who you are, it's different, people will buy into you and resonate.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, you know how it is. Like on a physical business, you can only attract the people in your geographical location. But online, it's a global audience.
If someone is looking to set up an online business and you could be based anywhere in the world, where would you put yourself?
Look, it depends how much money you're making, right? We spoke about this before. I believe there's different different levels. I think when you're first starting out as your digital nomad, like you got your Vietnam, Thailand, Bali, Colombia, and then I think you go to the next level up, and I think it's Dubai. And I've been here since 2016. And the thing I like about Dubai is like, because previously I was in Australia, but no one's coming to Australia. In Dubai, I'm like, everyone wants to come to Dubai. And the way I try to tell people is, when I was growing up in Australia, the end goal was America. Wow, this person's from America. I got to go to LA. I'm a creator. I got to be in LA. And it wasn't until I went to America and I told them that I live in Dubai that I got literally the same response as the people in Australia was giving to the Americans. They're like, wow, you live in Dubai? So, and look, I look at Dubai as like, and that's what I've been saying, like New York in the early days, when everyone from, you had the Germans, the Europeans, and everyone coming to New York City to build that what it is today. It's the same thing what's happening in Dubai. You have all these different people coming and just for networking and all that. Like, okay, of course there's a lot of distractions, but you just got to stay laser focused and stick to your lane. And I think Dubai is a beautiful place, man.
I agree. I'm laughing because I went to a mastermind in Miami 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm actually going to California Monday. And everyone kept going to me, oh, you're Charlie from Dubai, like you're this fucking kid from the other side of the world. Yeah. But that's actually a good thing in a USP because it makes you different. Yeah. And I think one of the best things that you can always be is be different to stand out. And I think that's where that can be part of your story to sell as well, right? Yeah. Yeah, man. Look, I've been here since 2016, like I said, and I saw all the stuff, and even the stuff that they didn't implement then. That they can they're implementing it now. Like, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes that make sense, right? Even in just 3 years I lived here, it's like a different place. Yeah. Even I remember the weirdest thing was like Fridays used to be like a weekend day, and then it changed to normal European. Yeah. I used to quite like it because it was different. Yeah. But like all those things have changed. It just feels like Europe almost to me. Yeah. I like it, man. I like it. And it's kind of like a neutral place as well. It's not like East or West. It's kind of, kind of like a Switzerland in a way. Neutral. It's kind of neutral and kind of friends with everyone, does business with every country. And I like it here, man. Now, you mentioned not getting distracted, and one of the bad things Dubai can get you distracted with is women. Yeah. Do you think men can be more successful if they're on their own and single, or if they're in a relationship? Look, man, it really depends. I think a good woman can actually like make you more successful, right? Because at the end of the day, like your woman should be like I believe more in the traditional roles, right? Like I don't want my girl to work. I don't want to have her to worry about that. But I need her to make sure that I'm mentally able to go out there and hunt. And then when I come home, I get looked after, and I'm gonna look after her. But I see a lot of people these days, like, I don't know, I'm just not down for that temporary fun, man. Like if I'm in a relationship with a girl, it wouldn't even come to a relationship unless I could see myself having kids with that person or building a family with that person. So yeah, I mean, if you could see that, then go ahead. But if it's just temporary fun or something like that, I think it's just a complete waste of time. Have you seen many entrepreneurs fuck up and fail, that type of thing? Because you mentioned earlier, obviously you've been in the online space a while as well. And like a lot of people come and go, and I've seen that. Yeah. People rise and they drop off and you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Do you think that's one of the failings of men almost?
Look, man, I've been making money online since like 2013, 2014. And back then it was like people running Facebook pages or running like, and these, they were making 100,000, 200,000 a month. But these kids were like 19 years old. I was just happy that I'm a bit older and, I had businesses in the real world as well. And so when the online money came, I didn't get too excited, but the main thing is these people were making 100,000, but they were spending 100,000. They were renting these big mansions in LA, living that life. But the thing with online is like, you need to be able to learn how to pivot because like I said, what worked yesterday doesn't work today. And what works today probably won't work tomorrow. So you got to be able to constantly pivot. And yeah, man, I've just seen too many people like have a little run and then they think it's the new normal. But, you got to keep switching up. You got to keep pivoting and stay on your journey, man. Like, and that's a big reason why you asked me the first thing is, and I said it's fitness, right? I didn't say anything else. I said fitness. Reason being is like, if you live that life where you're all about your fitness and everything and you're all about training, you're not going to go out drinking. Like, you're not going to get excited to go to a club and party because you know that next day you got training at 7 a.m. So yeah, man, like if I say stick to training and like, don't worry about girls or don't worry about women until you got your money, man. Like, yeah.
I agree 100%. I think you need to build yourself into the man that then the right woman falls into your life rather than like you go chasing those people. And I think if you make yourself great enough and you achieve all this stuff, you're going to have no shortage of options in terms of like who you want to be the future mother of your children. Yeah,
and it's delayed gratification because at the end of the day, the things that women are interested in, as a man, it takes time to build that up. You know what I mean? Like it might be you're in your 30s before you even tick the boxes of what a woman is interested in. And it's different for a woman, like she'll get her value. Like what men are interested in a woman is, it's a whole totally different thing. So as a man, like you should always focus on the long term. Like I don't really get distracted on that short term thing. I've always been about delayed gratification. And it's another reason why I talk about fitness. Because like training, you don't get the results straight away. So it's a good thing that I always try to tell people, like I've been training since I was 14. So I always try to tell people, man, get to the gym. And even if someone like they ask me for something, one test that I have is I said, okay, cool. Come see me when you got abs and then I'll help you. You know what I mean? Like you're going to see if that person's serious. You're going to see if that person, because like everyone wants your help. Everyone wants your thing. And I say, I'll help you when you get abs. And you just give them that one thing to do. And if they come back, man, you got someone who's really focused and who's really serious about that. So that's one thing that I try to tell people.
I think success leaves clues in that fact. And that's why I don't understand when people are really successful in terms of getting in great shape, but they can't be in business because it's exactly the same skill sets. And it's like consistency, discipline. You do the fucking shit you don't want to do. Because it's the same thing in business. It's like you don't want to fucking do this stuff. But you just do it anyway.
It's so transferable. It's just obviously like the principles apply. It's just fine tuning it to a different approach. But yeah, it's always the same principles. And that's why I always tell people like, about my skill set for myself, I believe is my biggest skill set is marketing. And, it's not a specialized skill. It's a broad skill in marketing, but it's transferable to any business. I've had success in physical businesses and even online, like so many different aspects. Like I didn't just make my money in crypto or gaming, even though I made a big amount of money in that. I've made millions in so many other ventures as well. Using the same principles, and to be honest with you, it all started from training. The delayed gratification, the discipline. Like I said, like even one of my comments on one of my videos yesterday, they said, oh yeah, man, he used to go to the same school as us and his little brother was there. And we used to hear stories about how he would break into the school gym because I went to boarding school, how he would break into the gym in the middle of the night to go and train. You know what I mean? Like, and no one else is doing that. And, it's like doing stuff that no one wants to do. You know what I mean? Like I could be chilling right now, but I prefer to work. And the only time that I've ever felt like depressed or anything is when I'm not focused or I'm not working. You know what I mean? Like that every man needs like that purpose, you know? So
I think is when you lose the purpose, is when you lose the drive, and you almost lose yourself in a downward spiral at that point, right?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Look, I should say stay away from alcohol, man. Like all my most stupidest mistakes is always with alcohol. So, you know, that's why I love training. It just takes me off that.
You mentioned there about almost like you like Kobe Bryant in the gym at like 14 years old, however it was at school in the middle of the night. What inspired you when you were earlier on to have that type of mindset, or what gave you that type of drive?
Bro, like, to be honest, like, people just underestimated me too much, man. Like, I felt like I was always overlooked for everything. You know what I mean? Like, I always felt overlooked. Like, this person was getting the recognition, or this person was getting selected for this sports team or that sports team. And I knew myself that I was better than these people. So it just, like, it didn't make me get depressed. It made me, like, more determined. It made me more focused. And it's crazy because even, like, my best friend back in the days, you know, I don't know why I thought like that. I even said to him at, like, 12 years old, I said, do you know your grandparents? He's like, yeah, I know their names. I said, do you know their story? He doesn't know their story. Like, and I vaguely know my grandparents' story. My great-grandparents, I couldn't tell you one thing about them. I don't even know their names. And that's my own blood. So it's like, I don't know why I was thinking like that when I was young. I was thinking like that. So yeah, like I've just always been like that, man. I've always been the guy that, you know, like I said, I was at boarding school and I was in New Zealand. So like most of the people had like rugby players on their wall or you know, girls.
All Blacks, yeah.
Yeah, I had the body. I had like Dexter Jackson and you know, Ronnie and that on my wall. And, you know, I was printing out, you know, quotes. And I was putting them on my wall, you know, like even all of my tattoos is just all affirmation. So I've always been like that.
Is there anything you do now to try and keep that type of mindset, to build your mindset in that respect?
Bro, going back to why being in Dubai, right? You just see so many levels ahead of where you are, right? You know, back in Australia, my holiday home was next to the mayor's house. You know what I mean? The mayor of that city. So I was like, where can you go from there? You know what I mean? But then you come to Dubai, and like, for example, I live on the Palm, and I go for a run on the Crescent, and you see the big ships. And you know how you can go on Google and type like the ship's name, and it tells you who owns it, how much it's worth. And like, I'm seeing that on the daily. Like, I'm running, and I see a helicopter come down, pick the guy up off the yacht to take him to the land. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I think I'm killing it. You know what I mean? So I just see all the levels that's ahead, you know, and, you know, people play games, but I be playing game in real life. You know what I mean? I play the game of life, and I'm trying to get the high score in life, not just on a game, but even gaming, like the same principles apply. Like, you know, we spend this money on elixirs or skins or whatever, but you don't want to invest that in yourself, you know, like, so it's always self-development. Even talking to people like you, chopping it up, hearing what you're doing, how you're doing your business, bro, that inspires me. You know what I mean? Like, there's inspiration everywhere, man. And it's just about how you digest it. You know, like, I don't look at someone who's more successful than me and hate, which a lot of people do. Like,
that's a European mentality.
I think it's crazy, bro. It's everywhere. It's like, because the way I look at it, right, is like, if there's 1,000 things that you could say about that person that are good, but you're picking out one little flaw that you really had to dig deep for to find, it's like, bro, like, that energy is off, man. So yeah, like, I always look at success, even people that aren't doing as good as me, I still get tips from them, man. Like, I get tips from everyone, and I don't like to be that hater mindset, man. I always like congratulate and just keep moving in my own lane, man.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? You mentioned tips there.
Damn, best piece of advice. Sam, I wouldn't know if someone gave this to me, but like, I'd just say just keep going. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing, is just keep going. And okay, one advice that I got, right, and I posted this the other day, is it's to do with this. You know, being the dumbest person in the room is the smartest thing you can do. And then also what I like to add to that is, but when you're the smartest in the room, make sure you're giving game to the people. You know what I mean? Like, and then basically the summary of that is, when you're in a room, you need to understand when to listen and when to talk. See, like there's some people that, or you know that in this room, you should just shut up and listen because this guy's more successful than you and it's time for you to educate yourself. But then you get the people in that same room and they want to talk about what they got going on. It's like, dude, you're in the presence of this person here. Be quiet and listen. So I think just having that personal self-awareness and thing is probably the best tip, man. Just having a awareness and surroundings and, you know, when to talk, when to listen.
How have you managed to get yourself into higher up rooms than where you're at? For anyone listening to this.
Yeah, it's just always leveling up, man. Just always like showing that you're hungry. Like, for example, you know, like I said, like I go to all the fashion shows, and I put myself in that by aligning myself with these brands, you know, like I'm already into fashion and all that. So like, for example, I was supposed to go to, like, for example, like I go to a Louis Vuitton fashion show, a Fendi fashion show. Now, people think like, why would he want to go and look at guys walking in some clothes, right? And to be honest, I don't. Like, it's cool for the Instagram, but it's the networking that you get there, right? Like, you're a VIP person in that area. There's also VIP people from Asia. There's also VIP people from America. There's VIP people from the Middle East region and Europe. And you're all meeting together over a 2-3 day period. So that you can put yourself in a room like that. Like, even for example, like if you buy a Lamborghini, right? And people say like, that's a depreciating asset. But that's only a depreciating asset if you don't know how to make money from owning that Lamborghini, right? Because you get into the Lamborghini clubs from that. You know what I mean? So that's how you can put yourself in a room. Now it's up to you to have different skills and different skill set that these other people are interested in, or you got to have a story to tell. Like what you said before, you need to be able to tell your story. Because I know when I tell my story, like even someone might be a billionaire, man, they're fascinated because it's such a unique way how I've made it from nothing, man. Like in make it. So I've got a story to tell, and they get interested in it. And it's also, I can also offer them genuine, actionable advice right then and there with a proven history. So yeah, man, like I say, build your skill set up.
Two things I take on what you just said there. One, I just bought a Ferrari, and one of the reasons why I was like, definitely get it from the main dealer is you get part of the Ferrari club, and then you get the network of events of that every month. I was like, there's no fucking way this is going to pay for itself.
Yeah.
So it's basically going to end up being a free car.
Yeah.
And then secondly is that when you go to those type of events and you're also in great shape, you automatically stand out, and you're almost seen as an authority just from like physically being a specimen. In terms of like events I've been to in the US recently, like business events, no one else was from a fitness background. I automatically stand out because I'm a fucking big dude.
Yeah.
Everyone's almost like gravitates to you from like a tribal mentality.
Exactly.
And when you think about that and you build yourself into that like attractive character, like I mentioned earlier, you set yourself up to win.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, you know, everything I do, people like, for example, like, oh, that's not an investment. I say, I know how to make that an investment. You know what I mean?
Leverage.
And it's investing in yourself. But you need to build the skill set up, and you, like you said, you need to stand out. Like if you're just fitting in, like man, like there's so many more people that have more money than me, but like because I'm in shape, because of everything else, the way I dress and everything, it just makes life so much easier to network with people straight away because they're coming up to you, right? And like you said, for example, you owning that Ferrari, you've already got that personal relationship with the people, and you already have a similar passion for cars and Ferraris, and you know that someone that owns a Ferrari is like, they got to be a millionaire, right? So you already know that the network's millionaires, and you already have something that you can relate to them with, and then they want to know what else you do. It's the same thing with fashion. It's the same thing with people that buy Rolexes, Richard Milles, all of that.
The fashion thing is interesting. Do they invite you to those, or do you buy tickets to that?
Nah, you got to get invited. You get invited, but look, you get invited by spending money at the shops, right? But it's not just about spending money. You got to build a relationship with the people, and then okay, you can get invited, but you might be in the back row. You know what I mean? So there's all the other things like being in shape, knowing how to dress, having a social media following and all that will take you from just getting an invite and being third row, fourth row in the back to being front row. You know what I mean? Like, so there's always ways that you can, it's not just about getting invited, it's about like capitalizing as much as possible on the opportunity.
Positioning.
Yeah, positioning, man.
Do you think young men listening to this should go and buy supercars and expensive watches and jewelry?
Look, like I didn't do it until first of all, I'm into this stuff already, right? It's like I love all of this stuff. But I think it depends on how you make your money. And I think if it suits you, it suits you. Like if you can rock it, if you feel comfortable wearing it, do it. Like don't let anyone else tell you what you should do, but also like don't just do something because you see the next person doing it. You know what I mean? Like because at the end of the day, like you got to be authentic and you got to be authentically you. Like I've always been into fashion. I've always like to look good. I've always trained. It's not something that I'm like, oh man, this person's training, so I got to train. You know what I mean?
It's your own personal identity.
It's my own personal, like I'm not sitting there smoking cigars because I see all these other influencers, and I only just seen these influencers started doing it since like Andrew Tate and that started doing it. Now everyone's be smoking a cigar, but I don't do that because it's not really my thing. You know what I mean? So I just say just do what is authentically you. Yeah, and if you're into it, man. Like just do it.
I think even like talking about the Ferrari thing there, like the reason I probably from a childhood wanted Ferraris, my dad had two.
Okay.
And then that's been something in my head of like a milestone to fucking tick off.
Yeah.
Of like, I think everyone's, you can see you're smiling as well, you can probably see where I'm going with this. It's like everyone, as a man, your goal is to almost beat your father, I see. So it's like, for me, it's like getting past that point.
Okay.
So I think for me, that was always like a childhood thing that I wanted. And I think it's the story you tell yourself, which is why those things become important. And it's not about the car, it's who you become to buy the car.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, you know, you can say like, even when it comes to the, like, that's what I literally believe is like, what's the goal in life, right? It's for your kids it's for you to beat what the previous generation did. Because if you don't, that's a disservice to the sacrifice that they put in to raise you if you don't take it to the next level. And then you need to set it up in a way that your kids are going to beat you. Because like even now, I be hanging around with like third generation, fourth generation billionaires and, you know, the old money. So I can learn about how to position myself, my finances, my assets for that longevity. You know what I mean? Like for that next generation. I'm not just trying to make money and you know, and I always see those quotes, you know, you see those quotes saying, oh man, it doesn't matter how much money you get, because when you go with nothing, right? But you're not gonna have kids. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just the stupidest thing that I think is a cop out, you know? Like you see all these cop out quotes, that's like, come on man, that doesn't even make sense. Like you're telling me that it doesn't matter how much money you get or how much success you have, because when you die, you're buried in the same casket as the next person. But hey man, you're gonna have kids, they're gonna have kids, like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta set that up.
What does legacy mean to you?
It's just literally that, man. Like basically for me, all I want is like my grandkids to be like, damn, like granddad was balling like that, or he was doing this and that. Like everyone else, man, they're gonna have their own opinion, whatever. Like I just want my grandkids or my great grandkids to see a photo of me in 100 years time and be like, wow, you know what I mean? Because like when I see photos of like my like for example, like my granddad, my grandparents, like I be getting inspired. Like one of my granddad was from Wales, and he was like in the Air Force. So like seeing him in that, like, you know, that suit, and I'm like, damn, that's cool. And then even on my other side, like, man, I'm from a little village in Fiji in the islands, man, and he had to educate himself in the mainland, but he had to like travel and like so much to educate himself. So yeah, man, I just want to inspire my future generation, man, to be like, damn, like if my granddad was living like that. And that's why even like some of my chains, man, I spent like some of my chains is like, it's my culture with my like last name on it and everything. And, you know, I look at it as like a family heirloom type of thing. I want them to have that and just get inspired by it, man. Just literally just want to inspire my future kids, man.
And I think this is the beauty of like long form content like this, is that when we're both dead, our children can still watch this.
Yeah.
Which is a fucking insane thing to watch for when one of them watches this.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people are doing themselves a disservice, in particular have a business, not making longer form content.
Yeah.
One of the questions I asked you, but you brought up the chains. What's the most expensive piece of jewelry you've bought?
Most expensive Piece of jewelry. Well, like this watch here is like I paid. Oh wait, this ring here is like $250, cause like it's like a GIA certified diamond. I've spent a lot. I've spent probably like I probably got like 3 or 4 different things that cost like 300 each. So yeah, I probably got like 3-4 million jewelry.
You probably couldn't carry that any other place other than Dubai.
Yeah, that's why literally I love the safety here, because I'll be rocking out like I got diamonds here. I got about 20 different piercings. Like, yeah,
you're not doing that in London. In terms of like one of the things you mentioned earlier is in terms of like pivoting as times change. You've been in the online space a while, and in the time that I've been running online coaching businesses, 6-7 years, even from what I see a lot of people teaching bullshit from like 2020 that used to work doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in terms of the platforms and things change in the next 2 to 3 years in terms of online space?
In terms of the online space, look, I haven't really seen anything stick out that is going to change. But like, for example, with AI, and this is why I tell people, man, like you need to be serious. Like sales calls, assistants, all of that's going to get replaced. Like you even see now at Wendy's, they're using AI in the drive-through service. It's not a person talking anymore. It's AI. So all of these jobs are going to get replaced. And, you just need to keep updating your skill set and keep learning because, yeah, if I don't know what's going to happen next year and I'm in the space, I feel sorry for people that aren't even in the space who don't have a clue. So you just got to keep staying focused and just keep like watching out for trends and everything. But I think, one thing I do think, and I see it growing is like, and even what I've started with the mentorship stuff, I think teaching people how to make like online money, Wi-Fi money. Like I think the end goal now is to get paid in US dollars or Bitcoin, right? And then live in a geographical location where that dollar is last longer. That's why we mentioned all these other countries. I think like that Wi-Fi money is like online money is still the trend, man.
And I think one of the things you touched on there is AI, and I think the leverage this has given people when they think ahead and use the right approaches is wild. So I'll give an example. We've built like an AI chatbot system that's replaced 5 calls like DM VA setters on our fitness business that runs like 24/7 round the clock and have 100 conversations per minute from paid ads, infinitely scalable. And we built that. We're now selling to other trainers as well because it's solving a big problem.
Exactly.
But I also know the other things that are coming is like we do maybe 2,000 outbound sales calls a day. There's AI software that's already coming for outbound sales. The same for closing. Like the whole game is shifting, and I think that's where those people who are ahead of the curve, you're going to get a competitive advantage, like first to market with these things. Yeah, man. Look, the AI plays crazy, and you see how fast. This is what I say. Like I've been in the online space and technology and crypto since 2013 with the online stuff and the social media stuff. It's the fastest growing. It's the fastest changing industry. It changes so fast. It changes rapidly, and it keeps you on your toes. But yeah, as I alluded to what you said, like that's why building your personal brand is super important because AI can't take over that. You know what I mean? Like AI could never be your personal brand. It can't replace that. But all the other stuff that is aligned with the business of your personal brand, like you said, the closes, sales, all of that it's replaceable. Like even last year, that wasn't even a thing, right? And now it's like Wendy's have it. You know what I mean? Like it's just going to be everywhere. I also think with the personal brand is that the one thing people always want to buy from is other people who inspire them. So if you become the inspirational person that people want to be like or look up to, you're never going to run out of people who want to give you money and work with you. And it's not a new thing. You know what I mean? Like, back in like the stuff that I used to educate myself on, like I love hip hop. So I used to, that's why I love hip hop, but the interviews that you would catch me watching is like the Master P interviews, the Jay-Z interviews, like the Birdman interviews, more the business people. And like they were making they realized the power of their brand. And like a corporate America, and that
they didn't realize how big it was, because they weren't giving endorsement deals or doing brand deals with the hip hop people. And then when they started giving them like, they started doing alcohol, they started doing clothing, they started doing all these different verticals that aligns with personal brand. And they realized like, this is how you make so much money. It was the same with social media. 2013, 2014, I had my Facebook page was like literally the biggest in the world at the time. And bro, it was crazy. Like people used to be like, oh man, if only you could make $1 from every follower. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like they used to laugh at people having an online following.
People saying that you don't get paid for likes.
Yeah, you don't get paid for likes. That was literally it, right? And it's the same thing. And like I said, like the reason why I mentioned that in the hip hop world is they didn't realize the power of social media. Like, but when you have a personal brand, like look at Jake Paul, for example. The dude's probably making more money in boxing than, probably just only Canelo and one or two of the top people is making more money than him in boxing. That's not even his lane. Like, you know what I mean? Like he made that his lane and he's making more money than all of these other people because, but at the end of the day, man, it's entertainment, right? It's entertainment and it's being a business person, monetizing your personal brand. So yeah, man, personal brand is like super important. If you have a physical business, and even if you're starting a business, you should always I believe you should always document your journey, because then even when you get the success and you can post that early days up, it's just even more powerful. It's even more conviction. Like some of my biggest videos is reformatting content that I did 13 years ago on YouTube, just talking about like, hey, I'm on the grind. I want to make it. I'm doing this and that. And then I show where I am now. And it just makes the story so much more stronger. So yeah, I always tell everyone, man, like social media and just document your journey, man. And you see a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I don't have the time for that. And you know what I mean? Like you're just leaving a lot of money on the table and a lot of opportunities on the table, because it's not even about the money from marketing to your fans, but it's also about the networking and that you'll get from other people who also have a following as well.
I think people say they don't have time, then they can enjoy being poor, because it's the same thing. You're gonna not have any time because you're gonna have a 9-to-5 job then, not have freedom.
Yeah.
Like pick your poison.
But I look at it like this, right? People's like, there's only 24 hours in a day. But for example, right, you can do 3 things at once that makes 24 hours turn into 72. For example, like I love watching, I have this one team called the Warriors NRL team that I watch. I have to watch every week. It's my team. But I can't sit there at home just watching them in the cinema room. I'm at the gym sprinting while I'm watching the game. You know what I mean? So I'm doing the 2 things at once. So just stuff like that. You can do multiple things at once that will make 24 hours seem like 48.
But that's a form of leverage, right? And I think leverage is the most important thing for anyone who wants to be successful, because you're not going to the thing I said earlier about like trading time for money.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I think trading time for money, look, it's good to a certain extent, and everyone's got to start from doing that, right? But then you also think like, what else can I do? What else can I do? And I would never tell someone just quit your job or nothing like that. Like you need to have that solid foundation first, and then you can start. But then, yeah, apart from like, as soon as you clock off from your job, don't be watching Netflix. Don't be on Instagram looking at girls. Even for example, like I get so many DMs from guys, bro, help me out, man, help me out. I just use it as case study sometimes, I go on their page, I look at who they follow, and they're following all half-naked girls. I'm like, bro, like you want me to help you out, but everything that you're consuming is like thirst traps. You know what I mean? Like you don't even help yourself. You want me to help you out when you're not even helping yourself. Like you should be following only motivational people, that's the only content that you should be consuming.
I think this is one of the biggest things people don't understand, that their own conscious thoughts aren't their own thoughts. They're what's been put in front of them, like on the phone or like the environment around them.
Yeah.
And if people learn to control that, the easier life becomes.
Man, it's so true. Like, yeah. And I've caught myself in that position too. You know what I mean? Like, no one's perfect, but it's about having that literally that awareness and being outside of your own body. Because like I feel like we give advice to someone else that we don't take ourselves, right?
Oh, all the time. But that's also, I think, the benefit when you coach people, because I'll say something to someone like, that's really fucking smart. And I'm like, why don't I do that? Like, and then I start doing it.
Yeah. So and that's why I love doing the mentorship as well. You know, like you're constantly plotting. I feel like that should be the main thing. Is like this person's telling you their age, their story, their financial situation, what their interests are, what their passion is, and then you like formulate a plan for them to get better. But that just sharpens your mind as well. You know, like I come out of these like mentorship calls, my brain's going crazy because it's like an overload. But that's how you get better. That's how you get sharper. Like you're not only solving your problems, you're like fine tuning other people's things, and then that, by definition, helps you out as well on your own journey. So, yeah, I just see this stuff as like a crazy positive loop. You know what I mean? Like, and I look at myself as like an athlete right now. Like I'm getting paid to train, I'm getting paid to stay in shape, and I'm getting paid to plot. Like I feel like a coach and the player at the same time.
Like Dr. Evil.
That's Dr. Good.
Yeah, Dr. Evil. So that's why almost one of my favorite sayings is like, rich people don't work as they think.
Okay.
And it's like the more time you can like spend thinking, like provided you do some doing, or you have a team who could do the doing for you, that gives you leverage, the farther ahead you'll get. And too many people get stuck like this in their phone and they fucking doom scrolling cat videos or whatever they're doing, or like staring at fucking chicks that they don't actually like lift their head up and like look at the four walls around them and what's going on. True,
man. Like even if your interest is girls, right? Like figure out how to make a play from that. You know what I mean? Like what's the business from that?
Well, I just thought of a business straight away. So I'm not doing this. I'm in a relationship, but I've heard this happens that you can hire a VA to go on like dating apps for you, do the outbound messaging, and then basically arrange like dates for you, right?
Okay.
You could set up an agency that has these people you could hire who then book you in for dates with these specific women. That's a good business. I just came up with on the spot.
Bro, you know what I do, right? It's like you've heard the saying, right? Why run down and like what did the cattle say to the old bull say to the young bull, right? Yeah. And basically what it means by that is like if you just make yourself as best as you can be and you focus on yourself, then they're gonna come to you. Like you're gonna attract them. Stop chasing and build yourself up and attract. You know what I mean?
I don't know why it made me think of that, but that's a saying like is like success is the best revenge.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first started online, people were like, who the fuck does Charlie think he is? Why is he doing that? Because I had a 9-to-5 job as an estate agent. And then from then I went on and sold over $10 million of fitness programs. And I remember seeing one of the people who said that, like, and we both looked at each other and he didn't fucking say anything. I didn't say anything, but I looked at him and I was like, you fucking know, motherfucker. Yeah. And it's one of those things.
This was after the fact?
Yeah, after the fact. And it's like, no one said anything, but he looked sheepish and I just fucking knew.
Yeah.
And that for me was so much fulfillment in terms of like proving a point. Yeah. I think for me in my own head that I often try and create competitions because I'm very competitive to create games.
Yeah. I'm the same.
And a great book you'd like is Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick Bet-David.
Okay.
And he also says you need to set bigger fucking enemies because then it's like it makes you take bigger actions and like level up more to push yourself to another level.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. Like I've had some beefs with like some people, man, and like it just made me focus. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, you really think you're competing with me? You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, like you got things twisted because like, and that's what I love about business, right? Is we make money till the day we die. And if we're smart, we continue to make money even after we're gone. We're not an athlete where like our money, our earning potential is in a limited time frame, or like a music artist where like you're hot now, you're not hot tomorrow. Like you really need to have the business. And you know what I mean? It's the sports business. It's the music business. But some of these other people, they only do music or they only do sports. But there's a second word to both of those categories, right? It's business. So if you understand about business and everything and you just stay focused, like, and yeah, man, don't worry about who's ahead of you right now. Like, just stay on your own journey, stay on your own goal. And yeah, like, create these competitions in your own head. Like, for example, I always tell everyone when I train with them, like, you know, they might be doing bench press and then they just rack it. I'm like, bro, like, you can do 20 more. They're like, nah, man. I'm like, dude, you haven't even gone to positive failure. Then you got negatives. Then you got statics. Then you got drop sets. Nah, man, I can't do anymore. Hold up. If I put a gun to your head right now and and said, I'm literally going to shoot you if you don't do 4 more, you'll do it. You know what I mean? So like, or they say, I'm going to die, but you didn't die. Like, all I know is that I'm going to be in bed tonight and I'm going to be sleeping in my bed and the sleep's going to feel so good. That's why I go crazy, bro. I do like 10 kilometers every day running. And bro, like, it's pretty hard. And people are like, yeah, man, my body's sore. I'm like, dude, my body's been sore since 14. Like, every day my body is sore. Like, there's not one part of my body that's not sore every single day. But that's the only way that your body grows, you know what I mean? It's the same thing.
I think an interesting thing for people to think about from a physical perspective is if you didn't die,
Yeah.
you physically quit.
Yeah.
Like you mentally quit. So if you didn't die, you mentally quit.
True.
Because like you have the capability to do more. And I think I see the same thing from an entrepreneurship point of view. People don't do enough.
Yeah.
Or they make 5 posts on Instagram, no one signed up for the program, and they fucking quit you.
Yeah. I talk to people, man. And like, oh yeah, I tried this or I tried that. Send me the link. Show me. You got 4 posts, man. You didn't try that. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like even for myself, like I don't take days off on anything. I don't, like, for business, I work on the weekends. Like business or that, it always comes first. But it's only because I love what I do, right? So people got it twisted. They're like, oh man, like you gotta rest, you gotta have family time with that. It's like, bro, I love what I do. Like, why would I want to take days off? This is what I love to do. And I just figured out how to monetize it. And, you know, working on the weekends, it gives you nearly 15 weeks in 1 year ahead of everyone else. Do you know what I mean? So it's like 15-week advantage by just working on Saturday and Sunday. It's crazy.
And that's also why I see a lot of people's businesses fail. And I speak to them, is because they've got no one working Saturday and Sunday. And I was like, well, if my whole team works Saturday, Sunday to some degree, then we've got an extra 3 months a year on you that we're going to beat you. Yeah.
Even when I was building my Facebook page, it was me and my other friend, Mark. And we worked 24 hours a day. I was on the day shift. He was on the night shift. We were posting every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes. It's like, where's the sleep? It's like, bro, like, there's no resting, man. It's online. Yeah, I've just always been like that, man. Like I don't stop.
Do you think that type of mentality also helps you when you go back to, say, things like crypto investing and looking longer term as well? Because you have that mentality that, like, shit can go wrong, but you have the ability to stay resilient and keep going.
Yeah, I think a lot of the thing is people they fire all their shots in the one thing, right? Like if any of my investments went to zero, it's not gonna break me. Any single investment.
I mean, they go all in.
They go all in, and you know, they do, bro. Like people, when it comes to money, man, people be doing silly things. I'll say, like, never do something that's gonna burn you. Like, just imagine if it goes to zero.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, bro, like there can be black swan events. The only thing that you can
went to fucking, like, disappeared basically.
Sorry,
was it Luna, the one that tanked?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Luna, UST.
Yeah,
bro. Like when we did our first interview, man. Like, bro, like companies and projects were dropping like flies, man. Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX.
That's wild, to be fair.
Yeah, all of them, man. Like they were just dropping like flies, and everyone was scared. Bro, I sold my Lamborghini and put it in Ethereum. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like there can be a black swan event that just ruins everything. I've done enough research to sleep at night. So even when my portfolio goes up $1 million, I don't get too excited. When it drops $1 million, I don't get too depressed. You know what I mean? I just stay on my goal. I stay focused, and I just keep finding a business that is going to keep generating money, so that it's not going to affect me, and I can't think long term.
Do you still continuously buy crypto now? Are you dollar cost averaging into it, or are you just buying in chunks when the market dips?
Look, I do. I would say I dollar cost average. It's not per week or per month or anything like that. But you know, like I'll prefer to get paid in Bitcoin than something else, and then I would just keep it in there.
Makes sense. I think that's one of the things I think has helped me, is just having a regular cadence of constantly buying in. Yeah. Just to like keep, like you mentioned earlier, like time exposure in the market. Yeah. And you don't almost realize how much you've accumulated over a period of time and how that then grows. Yeah,
like that's what I always give advice to people. I never tell them to focus on meme coins or meme projects. I say, look, start with Bitcoin and just dollar cost average, like every week, every month, every few days, whatever it is, you just buy buy $100, buy $100, buy $100, buy $100. Because that when you put skin in the game, that's when you start to research. Like, don't do something just because I said it.
Well, you got emotional pain then. If you're feeling it, you then pay attention, right?
Yeah, you pay attention and you want to research about it, right? And hopefully you should have done that even before you invested. But yeah, it's like, and then you can move on to other stuff. But understand that you're moving up the risk by going into other projects, because at the end of the day, you're betting on like companies, you know.
It's just the risk thing you just mind. I had a wallet hacked. I started buying some like degenerate, like super small caps. It was like 15K.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know, like 15 million market cap, like tiny.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, I was like, I could go to the moon. And I had my wallet hacked, and I ended up rebuying the same coins again, because it's like these fucking 100x.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna be able to fuck it. I'll be so pissed.
Yeah.
But it's also like with everything, like the greater the reward, the bigger the risk always is. And I think it's important for people to understand that. What would you say for anyone listening to this in terms of like, if you want financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, and you want to be risk adverse, how do you approach investing overall? Just not put all your eggs in one basket? Or
look, I would say until you're fully invested in yourself, you know what I mean? Like, if you need to get your body right, you need to get your mind right, you need to get your skill set up and your knowledge up. So I would say that is the main thing that you should be worrying about investing in first. Like I said, like, what is your passion? What are you gonna spend 18 hours a day focused on, right? It could be anything. And then you just need to figure out like, okay, what is the goal from this? But yeah, I feel like people just be jumping from back and forth to different like industries, or they hop on the latest trend. It's never going to work like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about riding the wave that everyone else is already riding when it's already about to crash to the shore. You know what I mean? Like, go out there, learn how to surf, and then wait for the next wave. Because there's always a new opportunity. Stop trying to chase opportunities when you don't really understand about it, and get your knowledge up. That is the best way to, mitigate risk, is by just having knowledge and being an expert on something. See, like, if you bought something because someone else said, well, then you're going to sell because some other person told you to sell. So you just need to have conviction and really do your own research and due diligence on everything, man.
Awesome. That's a really strong point to finish up on. Where's the best place for people to find out more about you, Sam?
Just on Instagram, man. Just type Sam Ratumaitavuki, long last name. Yeah, man. And Wi-Fi money.
I'll drop the links below this. So big thank you for your time. For everyone who enjoyed this, make sure you share it with friends, smash the like button, comment below any questions, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next podcast soon.
Yes, thank you, sir. My G.
Cool, cheers.